All right, so you are our class's second interview. You're in a room here of about 20 or so sophomores. You remember those days?
I do.
Good times. What would you say if you had to speak to your experiences of your time at early college? What kind of impact did early college have on you?
I mean, early college was probably the best thing that I like ever did. I feel like it opened so many doors for me as a adult. I feel like I was super supported by all my educators that were there. I don't really feel like I would have had the same opportunities if I would have stuck with my base school. So I feel like I really owe early college for all my success so far. So as far as impacts, I mean, I feel like in every way it impacted my life to some degree. Probably the biggest impact was that I had a full ride to college and I didn't pay a dime for anything. So no loans, I mean, nothing. So
Awesome.
pretty nice.
When you were here, did you get really involved in clubs?
I was president of council for, no, that was at Coastal. I was president of Share a Smile and Junior Civitan for I think 2 years or 1 year. And then, but I was in those clubs my entire time at early college.
What did you gain from being a part of clubs?
So for Share a Smile, so originally I wanted to be a police officer and I wanted to work in the FBI. That was like my goal. But then I joined Share a Smile and that kind of like sparked my interest in education. So I feel like I kind of owe it to that club and in the sense of getting me involved with the special needs community. Because if I hadn't have done that, I don't think I would have realized that that was more so what I wanted to do. So I mean, I don't know. I learned about myself throughout all of those. I learned about leadership opportunities. I learned really how to like show up for myself and do things that I enjoy doing.
Well, thank you. And so you graduated in 2017,
I did.
a long time ago,
I know.
and you went on to Coastal, right?
Mhm.
And what level, like, did you enter Coastal at?
So I entered Coastal as a junior, which was a little, it was stressful for me because, you know, your first 2 years when you're at Coastal is when you figure out like what you're supposed to be like doing. So then, you know, I'm going in as a junior, so I had to have a major picked. And I was like, I think I want to do this. So I started as a junior, but I was not a education major like prior to that. So it set me back a little bit. So I graduated a semester behind, but I still graduated 2.5 years early. So, I mean, either way, it was still a faster track. But yeah, I went in as a junior and it was really cool to not have to take the pre-req classes. So it was nice to kind of start my program like right away.
Uh, you had a unique experience. I think it was during your
I
time at
did.
Coastal. You want to talk a little bit about that and your travels?
Are you talking about when I went to South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if you were talking about what happened in high school. So I was like,
Nope.
which unique experience? Because one was good
Nope.
and one was not good.
Nope.
So Coastal gives you so many scholarships. It is insane. So there is this whole website where you apply for these merit-based scholarships. So on top of the money that I got from early college, the BE squared scholarship, I got a ton of other scholarships too. So my refund check was like $6,000 a semester. I'm not even kidding. So I didn't have to work my entire time throughout Coastal because that paid for my apartment, that paid for my car payment. I mean, it paid for everything. So I was super set. So then my junior year of college, 2019, I wanted to study abroad, but I wasn't quite sure if I could afford it because the trips are expensive. But again, there are tons of scholarships that are for that, and they don't advertise that though. So you kind of have to like research it. So I applied for all of them and I got all of them. So I went to Africa for a month. I taught there. I taught English. I taught in South Africa, Durban, and then Johannesburg. And it was like a $7,000 trip. And I only had to pay 1,000 of that. So the rest got covered in scholarships.
How did that experience give you a greater appreciation maybe for life here?
For life in America.
Yep.
I mean, everything is so different. So the schools that I that I was working in, they were in townships. So those are the poorest parts of South Africa. So they had dirt floors. They were using like beer bottle caps to count. So we were very fortunate when I look back of the schools that we have here in America, just in that aspect. And just in that aspect. But the crazy thing was that the kids at the townships that I was working with, they were so happy and school was so respected. Like the teachers were super, super respected. And to them, like they didn't think there was anything wrong with how they were being taught. So then, when you come back here and we have smart boards and AC and heat and carpet floors, it was just really crazy to see how kids who had less were just so much more impacted almost because they just like thrive to like learn, where I feel like that's not always the case here in American public schools. I mean, just like all of it, it was just crazy.
The pictures were amazing.
They were amazing. And because of that trip, that really sparked my interest in wanting to teach abroad. That's actually in the works. I'm finishing up my last year with Horry County Schools, and then I move in September to teach abroad for 2 years. So that's
exciting.
Super exciting.
We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. So you graduated from Coastal and you have a degree in special ed.
I do.
And so where have you been working?
So I work with Horry County Schools. I work at Riverside, which is the school that I actually interned at. So Coastal placed me here for my 2020 internship, which got cut very short due to COVID. So I was only like full-time intern teaching for maybe like a month and a half. And then COVID happened and we were out. But it's just ironic how the whole thing like worked out, because I went to this school when I was a child and the principal was the assistant principal when I was here. So it was just like strange to be back in my like roots. And then they offered me a job. I had only been interning there 3 weeks and they offered me a job with the same students, the same position, same everything. And I accepted it.
Awesome. And special ed teachers, for anyone who has a degree in special ed, pretty easy to find a job, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was like overwhelmed because I got offered the job at the job fair, but I had already had like 6 or 7 interviews like lined up. So I was like, do I go to my like other like interviews or do I stay? So it was very overwhelming. And I will say that special ed is not as daunting and scary as they make it seem. It can be, but you just have to be organized and have like a system. It's very doable for sure.
What do you love about teaching?
Really the impact that I have on the kids. A lot of kids that I work with, they have a learning disability. So you would not know that they have an actual disability. So I teach reading and math groups all day, but almost all of my students have very extensive trauma. Most are in foster care or being raised by their great grandparents. So I feel like I play a role as more of a therapist / mom figure to a lot of them. And I know that every day they leave my room and they feel so loved and supported. And that's like the best part. I have kids that come in here and their hair is never done. They're never fed. So I do all of that for them. We have bags of food that they take home on Friday, so they have stuff to eat. So I really loved that part of it. Obviously, I love the teaching part of it too, but I just know that I'm meeting their social, emotional needs first. And a kid is never going to learn if those are not met first. So I know that I do a really good job of that every day. So that's probably my favorite part.
Kids are lucky to have you. That relationship piece is huge. All right. So 3 years in Horry County. What's next?
What's next? So I was really debating if I wanted to do grad school or if I wanted to move to a different part of the state and teach there. But as much as I loved teaching in America, I cannot shake the feeling that I had when I was in Africa, because I was like super in love there, like loved it. And I love teaching here too. It's just different. So I started applying to jobs abroad, and I'm going through this organization called Search Associates. And I'm actually teaching special ed abroad. And it's very different in different countries. So the way that it works is like I'll still be a special ed teacher and I will still have like IEP